Team Keep It Clean, we are so close from this being a very, very real possibility. And what I'm talking about is the possible reunion of Calais Campbell with the Baltimore Ravens. This thing could really, really go down, especially after the updates that came out literally just today. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on. We are a little less than 200 subscribers away from 80,000 subscribers. Team Keep It Clean, we almost there. So make sure you leave a like on the video as well because it helps out the channel a ton. Let's get straight into it. So we, of course, talked about a couple of weeks ago how at the trade deadline, the Baltimore Ravens, they had a deal in place for Calais Campbell. Obviously, Mike McDaniel stepped in and he said, nope, I do not want Calais Campbell going there. Reason being because I still want him here with our Miami Dolphins because we still got a shot. And Calais Campbell, he's a good player. He's a great leader. And we do not want to let him go, at least right now. But Calais Campbell he talked to Dolphins general manager, Dolphins owner about this possibility that, hey, like if we get out of playoff contention, could I possibly be released? And they agreed on it and say, oh, yeah, that's a real possibility and whatnot. So then it came up a couple of weeks ago and we brought it up again. Like, hey, Calais Campbell, like he done talked to them, Dolphins ownership and whatnot about this situation happening. But that's when the Dolphins were still in playoff contention and technically they still are in playoff contention. But Omar Kelly, who's been covering the Miami Dolphins for a very, very long time, he said that the expectation is that if when the Dolphins are eliminated from playoff contention, that they are going to release Calais Campbell. Now, Omar Kelly, again, he's been covering the Dolphins for a long time, so he knows the ins and outs of the Miami Dolphins like crazy. He actually said that Calais Campbell, he said this year he's been one of their best performers on the team, so that's cool. That's actually amazing. But he said that Calais Campbell has been one of the Miami Dolphins' best leaders in the last 10 years. And I'm like, when I first read that, I said, hold up, like, he's only been there for a year. He said that Calais Campbell has been one of the Miami Dolphins' best leaders in 10 years, and he's only been on the team this year alone. And he even said, again, Omar Kelly has been covering the Miami Dolphins for a very long time. He is well respected around Miami Dolphins organization. He knows the ins and outs of Miami Dolphins organization. He said that he would put Calais Campbell, again, who only been there this year, he will put Calais Campbell on his Mount Rushmore of leaders for Miami Dolphins. That says a lot about the impact that Calais Campbell has had on those Miami Dolphins. But if and when they are eliminated from playoff contention, Calais Campbell could be released. Now, with the Miami Dolphins, another big part of their story when it comes to the playoffs is that Tua, it ain't looking like he's going to play against the Browns in tomorrow's game. It's looking like it's going to be the Tyler Huntley show. So Tyler Huntley, he ain't with us no more, but he could end up doing us a solid. If he just go out there and just don't do nothing, just lose to the Browns, then, hey, that would eliminate the Dolphins officially. Then they could go ahead and release Calais Campbell. But then that's where it gets a little bit tricky because with it being past the trade deadline, if he was a veteran, well, obviously he's a veteran, and it was before the trade deadline he got released, he would be free to go to whatever team he wanted to. But since it's past the trade deadline, then Calais Campbell would have to pass through waivers. So when he will go on waivers if he was released, and 31 other teams would have the opportunity to put in a claim for Calais Campbell. And the teams with the worst record, their claims are at the top. The teams with the best record, their claims are at the bottom. So the Ravens are definitely in the bottom half. But I would actually, and I know this may sound crazy, but I think with the respect that Calais Campbell has around the entire NFL, I do think that he would actually clear waivers. And I think it wouldn't be because he's a bad player, because he's obviously not a bad player, but I think it would just be because teams, and I get it, it's a business, but I think because teams, they really respect Calais Campbell, I think, this is just me, and I may just be crazy, but I think teams would be like, you know what, no, just let him go where he chooses. Let him go where he pleases. Let him go do his thing. Now, Jess Rebick, he said something that was interesting. He said, yes, I would think the Ravens would have some interest. And speaking of Calais Campbell, if he was released by the Miami Dolphins, he said, and yes, I'd also be surprised if he's not claimed by a team with a better waiver position than them. So he's saying that, yeah, he does expect the Baltimore Ravens to be interested, but he thinks that a team could actually put in a claim for Calais Campbell and just kill this dream. And again, that is a real possibility. That could really, really happen. But I just really do think, again, with the respect. Now, speaking of respect, this took us back to Terrell Suggs. Because somebody asked, he said, back in 2019, if Kansas City had not claimed Terrell Suggs, do you think he would have ended back with the Baltimore Ravens? Because remember, with Terrell Suggs, the Ravens didn't re-sign him. He ended up becoming a free agent, and he went to the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, because he's from Arizona and whatnot, so he got to go out there, be close to his family and all that. But then it wasn't looking so good for the Cardinals. Then they ended up releasing him. And I know a lot of us were thinking like, we rolling right now. We doing good. Let's bring Terrell Suggs back. We were like, oh, yeah, it's time, baby. Let's get it. But the Kansas City Chiefs, they said, nope, not going down. Those Baltimore Ravens, they done won 10, 11, 12 games in a row. No, we ain't letting it happen. He's coming with us. Come on, Terrell Suggs. Let's go get one. And they, of course, they got one. They ended up winning the Super Bowl championship that year, and Terrell Suggs, he got to be on that team. But Jeff Rebick he did say that the Ravens, that he probably would have ended back with the Ravens had the Chiefs not claimed him, and of course if he would have cleared the waivers and whatnot. So again, that just does give you reminders that while respect is involved in the NFL, it is certainly a business first. But I still do believe that deep down inside, that Calais Campbell, once the Dolphins release, I still think it's going to clear waivers. Again, y'all know I'm crazy. I think a little different than a lot of people, but I do think Calais Campbell will clear waivers, and then the Baltimore Ravens will have an opportunity for a very, very nice reunion. The Team Keep It Clean, we don't reach my favorite part of these videos where we get to feature your questions. If you'd like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. For the patrons, you can send it directly on a DM on Patreon. And if you would like to join it, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids. Or if you want to send it in an even more unique way, you can send it directly to our P.O. Box. The address is listed down below in the description. Now, this was something that was different. And shout out to One Flock, because One Flock gave us a shout out on Patreon because he said that Ingraven is considered by many to be the founding father of online Ravens content. I am not. I'm definitely not. There were people that were doing it before me, and I'm not the one that started this at all. So, but I appreciate the shout out, but I ain't start. But he said this brother is an honorary member of One Flock. Do yourself a favor and check them out. So I appreciate the shout out, One Flock. I thank you for that. That's special, man. And that's real right there. I thank you for supporting, and I thank you for telling your supporters to support as well. Now, we also got to give a shout out to a new Team Keep It Clean patron, my guy, Stephon P. So, Stephon, now let me know if it's Steven. I think with the spelling is Stephon, but if it's Steven, then let me know, and I'll get that corrected ASAP. But I appreciate you becoming a Team Keep It Clean patron. I wish you would have sent in a question to get us kicked off, but it's okay. We got plenty of questions to go through. The first question came from a Team Keep It Clean patron, my guy Kenny from B-More. He said, "Hey, Ingraven, hope you and the fam are doing great. Let's go Ravens." Oh, yeah, for sure. You already know what time it is, baby. He said, "Don't really have a football question or statement. Just come on here to vent a little bit to my other family. I lost one of my closest cousins the other day to a heart attack." Oh, man. Sorry about that, man. We sorry to hear that, man. That's sorry, man, because I know like with cousins, like y'all are cousins, but if it's somebody that if it's a cousin that you super close with, like you mentioned, then it's almost like y'all are brothers, like for real, man. And that could be it don't even gotta be blood family. Like you could have friends that you pretty much call cousins or whatnot because y'all so close and y'all are like brothers. It's like y'all like it don't take blood to make you family. But this is that's tough, man. Sorry to hear about that, man. He said it really got me emotionally distraught. So I came where I know I'll get a little bit more of love from Team Keep It Clean. That's what it's about, man. I really appreciate you sharing this with us, and I really appreciate the fact that you feel like that, because that's what it's all about. That's what Team Keep It Clean is for, man. It's family, man. So we all sorry that you're going through this, man. He said this is really devastating. Me and my family already are at a loss for words. He was only 34. A really good, hardworking man and a father of 4, and he was loved by everyone. That's man, and see, and stuff like that. I know, like that can make it worse, because especially if it's somebody who, like you said, he was loved by everyone, and he was a hard worker, family of 4, Just all positive things. But I appreciate you sharing those positive things about him. He said, I really appreciate you taking the time to let me come on your channel and vent to my other family. And there's one thing I want to tell everyone on here. Tell your loved ones and your closest friends that you love them as much as you can. That's true. That's a really, really good point. Really, really good point. Tell people you love them. Tell them you love them. Tell people that you're thinking about them. Tell people that you care about them. Tell people that you appreciate them. Tell people all of that stuff. That's a really good point. And he said, because you never know when that time is going to come. Sorry for the long message. Man, you ain't got a single thing to apologize about. Not a single thing to apologize about at all, man. He said, I just really had to get that out. And I really appreciate you and the whole Team Keep It Clean family. Hope everyone stays safe out there and be blessed. Hey, we appreciate you, Kenny, from B More, and we appreciate you sharing that, my friend. Next question came from my guy, King RJ. He said, do you think the Ravens can make the Super Bowl? Yes, for sure. He said, with all these changes in the defense and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, of course. Next question came from Mar. He said, I've been watching you for about a year now. Hope you and the fam are doing well. Hey, I appreciate that, Mar. Thank you, man. He said, do you think Lamar will start running the ball like he used to? It seemed like now he's choosing to wait 10 minutes to throw the ball instead of running for like 5 or 6 yards. Now, it's funny. He sent this on December 24th after watching that Ravens and Texans game. How you feeling now, Mar? Next question came from my guy, Isaac. He said, Ingraven, speaking of making history, if I remember correctly, there has never been a team who led the league in penalties that made it to a Super Bowl. I may be mistaken, but to my actual question, so I'm honestly not sure. But he said, to my actual question, what are your thoughts with the more with less conversation surrounding the MVP conversation? From what I remember, hasn't Lamar always done less with more? You mean more with less? Who has been the team's rushing leader each year? Yeah, it had been Lamar for a very long time. He said, now that we have a back to take that weight off Lamar's shoulders, he's not the MVP. This is no slight to Derrick King, but the King, excuse me, not Derrick Henry, but he put the King. Anyway, he said, but do you think Derrick's success is because of the threat Lamar brings each and every down? Now, look, don't get it twisted. Derrick Henry was already one of them guys. Derrick Henry was like that. But now with Lamar, they're like, because I've seen this argument brought up, especially even yesterday. Like, they showed Gus Edwards stats from last year. He got like 13 touchdowns. He almost got like 1,000 yards. He got like 800, 900 something yards last year. I forgot exactly how much, but he's putting up them numbers. But then you look at him with the Chargers this year. I think he got like a little under 500 yards and maybe like 3-4 touchdowns. The numbers ain't even close, not at all. And they're like, hey, like, hello, like Lamar, he been doing this. Lamar been making running backs that are next to him a lot better because the threat of him, it opens it up for them so much. Now, with the Baltimore Ravens, when they signed Derrick Henry, who's already a Hall of Famer before this year, and this year, like, certainly just added to his legacy a whole lot, that made them that much better. And this helps out Lamar a lot because, like you mentioned, it alleviates a lot off of Lamar. But at the same time, this alleviates a lot off of Derrick Henry, too. Him being next to Lamar Jackson, him being with this Baltimore Ravens team. Because while he is a focal point, he's not the only end-all, be-all focal point. So, but just speaking about Lamar Jackson himself, he helps out Derrick Henry a lot because teams are watching and hoping and just praying probably, oh, my goodness, please don't let Lamar take off. Please don't let him. Please. So the threat of a Lamar Jackson has opened things up so much for Derrick Henry, just like it has for a lot of other running backs that have been with Lamar Jackson in the past. He said, just a thought, but like any team we meet in the playoffs will be, I'm out. So this next question came from my guy Raven Pride. Oh, well, not really a question. He said, just would like if you could share this with Team Keep It Clean family. He said, it's your boy Ravens Pride, and this was my granddaughter's first Ravens game, and most of all, this the first win that she saw. Thanks for everything, bro. May God continue to bless you and your family, as well as Team Keep It Clean. I'm glad her first entrance to the world, she got to see the Ravens beat up on them Texans. And now, like, this for the rest of this regular season and the postseason, she will not see the Baltimore Ravens lose a single game. Next question came from my guy Mello. He said, greetings from Japan. Oh, shout out to you. He said, it's good to be around the military base and see other Ravens fans. I try catching your videos in the mornings as I'm getting ready for work, so I appreciate all you do for us couch GMs. Oh, yeah. Hey, we over here on the couch calling them shots and whatnot. Hey, we got to stick together, though, but I appreciate it. He said, so something to think about after we win this Super Bowl. I love it. I love that. I love that. He said something to think about after we win the Super Bowl. He ain't even like add an exclamation point. That's like, so he ain't even like, he's like, oh yeah, after we win the Super Bowl. He said, after we win the Super Bowl. That shows that crazy amount of confidence. I love it. Anyway, He said, we need a wide receiver and a DB in the offseason. What are your thoughts on selling future draft picks to move up in the draft for the only hybrid wide receiver DB available, the one Travis Hunter? It'd be nice, but no. Because what you would have to give up, you literally got to give up everything, because he is going to be way up there. And while he would be, and I know some people are like, oh, what you really wouldn't do? While he would be a great player, I think the Baltimore Ravens, especially at the cornerback position, because they do a pretty good job there overall with like the real cornerbacks, guys that are actual corner. They still got a Marlon Humphrey. They still got a Nate Wiggins. You even got a Tre'Davious White. He could step up and fill in too. Brandon Stephens is going to be gone. But Ravens, they really do a good job at the cornerback position overall. Whether it's homegrown guys, bringing in free agents like Ronald Darby. Who thought Ronald Darby was going to be killing it last year? With Brandon Stephens, they drafted him in the 3rd round, but he was a running back, and then he was a safety. Then they converted him to cornerback, so he wasn't like a natural cornerback. So yeah, that explains a lot. But still, Ravens do a pretty good job. So I see your vision, but I just don't think that they should give up everything to get him. Nice players, he's gonna do his thing in the NFL, yes. But to play wide receiver and cornerback in the NFL, will he be able to do that? I don't know. Because college is one thing. That's different from the NFL, though. These are like professionals. Like professionals. So if you're going to play both ways, like that would be historic. But I just don't. I wouldn't do it. He said, we got ties to Coach Sanders, and he would endorse that. In the big picture, we could save cap money on trading a few picks and use that money to re-sign some of our key free agents to be. Take care and blessings to you and the family. Hey, I appreciate that, Mello. Now, obviously do got ties to Deion. He used to play for the Baltimore Ravens. He obviously got a lot of respect and love for the Baltimore Ravens too. He said we could save cap money on trading a few picks. Now, you could, but you moving up. So that cap money that you save, the higher the draft pick, the higher their cap hit. Now, again, first round draft pick, it's their first year in the league. Obviously, they've done the rookie wage scale a lot different. So it won't like kill your cap or anything like that, but it still will be higher. But I think you can go a lot of other different routes than a Travis Hunter, because again, you're gonna have to literally give up everything to move up to get him. Next question came from my guy Javo. He said the next gift that the Baltimore Ravens will give us will be the Super Bowl if we continue to play like this. It's time for my thoughts. This was a great blowout win minus that safety, but Texans didn't even score a touchdown unless they do in the last 8 minutes of the fourth. Oh, he sent this before the game was even over. That boy Javo was on it that night. Anyway, he said, but they didn't, so great. He said, but I think I said we beat them by 30 in my last message. I don't even remember, but if you did, there you go. You called it pretty much. He said, congrats to Lamar Jackson for passing Michael Vick. Oh, for sure. He said, another monster run game from the King, getting over 140 yards there. That boy was killing it. He said, the defense played lights out, and if not mistaken, 21 had a quiet night, and I think he played quiet versus the Steelers. Yeah, pretty much. So that's always a good thing. He said penalties were down to a minimum, and the O-line held it down once again. Yeah. That's really, really big. The penalties and offensive line. And that offensive line was like, run blocking. Hey, great job. Pass blocking. But anyway, Tucker is back. I mean, I ain't mad at nobody saying it. And I feel like he's like right there. Let me see it in another game, though. He said, think we are getting right just in time for the push, but let's see what we do against the Browns next week. That's true. Blow them out. Just take care of business in a major way. He said, I think Zach has finally got the players to buy into his system, to buy into his system, because they know if they don't, then they will be benched. But let's see how he does versus the Chiefs when we meet them. Oh, I love that. He said when we meet. He ain't say if. He said when we meet them. I love it. And let's see what the media has to say tomorrow about Lamar Jackson. But just like that, Texans and Beyonce on her white horse. I'm out. But he also said, Bleacher Report wrote an article about Super Bowl windows for top contenders this year, and I want to know your thoughts on it. He said, so this year, Seahawks and Rams, 0 years. Bucks, 0 years. Falcons, 0 years. Vikings, 0 years. Packers, they got a 5-year Super Bowl window. Lions, 6. Commanders, 8. Eagles, 9. Chargers, 9. Chiefs, 4. Oh, 4. Broncos, 10. Oh, Colts, 0. Texans, 10 years. Bills, 8. Dolphins, 2. Steelers, 0. Bengals, 5. But Ravens, he said they have a 6-year Super Bowl window. I feel like you can't really, you could try to put a timetable on it, but we don't know how none of these teams are going to be in the next year, the next 2 years, the next 3 years. But I think where you could say some teams have a longer Super Bowl window, in my opinion, is the quarterback situation. That's where everything starts. So with the Ravens, he said 6 years. So my opinion, as long as they got Lamar, like, then that Super Bowl window is open. The Bengals, he said 5 years. They got Joe Burrow. He's nice. He said Steelers 0 years. Russell Wilson not signed beyond this season, and even with him signing this season, it ain't really looking too good for them. We'll see. The Dolphins 2 years. Tua's cool, but no, man. I just don't feel like he's the one, man, that he could get it done for them. I feel like with Tua, he just seems so limited. Like, you look at a Lamar, no, not limited. Burrow, no, not limited. Like Josh Allen, and they said 8 years with him, but not limited. C.J. Stroud, he having a rough year, but I feel like he's still better than Tua, in my opinion, overall, and he can be better than Tua. Tua's not bad, but he's just not that good. And if everything ain't perfect, because Tua, in my opinion, he's really based off of timing. He's based off of perfection. And if that perfection ain't happening, then it's like, ooh, it don't look so good, man. And I feel like it's so easy to throw a monkey wrench into the Dolphins' offense. But again, that's just me. Who knows? Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, the Chargers. He said Chargers 9 years. They got a bigger Super Bowl window than the Ravens. Maybe he feel like, no, they paid Justin Herbert though, so I don't know where that's coming from. Especially with how their history. But anyway, but they got their quarterback. He said Eagles 9 years. They got Jalen Hurts. Commanders 8 years. They got Jaden Daniels. So I think it's really about the team. It's really about their quarterback situation first and foremost, but then it's about roster construction after that. Context. Next question came from my guy Zega. He said, I hate how these sports analysts like Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp don't take into context on stats. I was just watching First Take, and there's a guy on there, and he said Lamar Jackson has interceptions, and I can show you how none of them are his fault. He's the first person that has noticed that. This wasn't a question. It's just something that I noticed. Yeah, hey, I didn't see that, but that's great that somebody can actually point that out. And that's true. It's true. Like, all 4 of his interceptions, they really not on him. It ain't from him making a bad throw. It ain't from him just straight up throwing it to the other team. It's just always some craziness, whether it was the drop or another drop or the ball being stripped or somebody stopping on a route. But, and again, that's part of the game. It happens. Context is super important though too. And just really, you ain't got to be no crazy expert or anything like that on the game, but just understanding stuff. Because I saw a clip of Paul Pierce and I was like, oh man, this is rough, because Paul Pierce, he didn't even know that the Ravens and the Bills, they played each other this year. And I watched, I said, ooh, that kind of made my stomach hurt. It's like, oh, that's big yikes. Anyway, Zay also said, I hope you're doing well. I was watching First Things First, and something Nick Wright said really stood out to me. They were discussing the 2023 stats of Brock Purdy compared to Lamar Jackson's 2024 stats. Also saying Lamar Jackson beat Brock Purdy. Nick mentioned, I think it's an unfair statement because Lamar isn't on the field playing defense. If we accept that perspective, that they are not on the field at the same time, then why do people often say Lamar Jackson can't beat Patrick Mahomes? Ooh, you talking something today, Zaga? Okay. And, that's real right there. That's real. But he also said, I feel it's more accurate to say he can't beat the Chiefs rather than specifically attributing it to Mahomes. What are your thoughts on this? And thank you for reading my question. I hope you have a great day, my friend. He says, I apologize for the lengthy message. One last thing. I won car flags from my coworker, but he's on vacation, which I didn't mention in my previous question. Oh, that's what you were talking about when you won the car flag. Okay. Because I was a little confused at the end of that question from before, but okay, thank you for clearing that up. But yeah, hey, that's true, but it seems like that is technically true. To me, I don't mind like talking about the head-to-head, but that is something that's important for context about the team's defenses and whatnot. But it's about the offenses too, scoring a bunch of points, scoring more points than the opposing quarterback does. So it's a combination of it all. I like it when they say, the head-to-head against the other quarterback, but it seems like in this reference, since it was like propping Lamar Jackson up, then maybe he didn't want to use it. But if it was pushing Lamar Jackson down, they would have used it all day. Next question came from my guy Darren. He said, what's up, Ingravenvids? Could we be in a year of co-MVPs? As much as we would all love Lamar to win his third, would we be mad to share it? That would be something right there. And I have not thought about that at all. It is a real, that's a real possibility that they could do that. I guess the voting would have to be right down the middle then, I guess, right? They would each have to give 25 votes. Wow. I never thought about that, but it is a real possibility. Would I want to share the MVP for Lamar Jackson with Josh Allen? No, but I mean, it could happen though. Oh, now this is a completely opposite take than the one right before. He said, let Josh Allen have it. Next question came from my guy TJ. He said, let Josh Allen have the regular season MVP because Lamar and our Ravens, we need that Super Bowl MVP and that Super Bowl hardware and jewelry. Let's finish the job because the job is not finished yet. He said, God bless the family and the channel and all Ravens. I appreciate you, TJ. You're right. I agree. Not with the part about letting Josh Allen have the MVP. I want Lamar to get the regular season MVP too and a Super Bowl MVP. It's okay that we want both. Because I be seeing some people say, oh, Ravens fans, all you guys do is you care about regular season MVP. We thinking of bigger and better things. And I'm like, no. Don't get it twisted. Ravens going to take care of the Super Bowl. And we would love Lamar to get that Super Bowl MVP too. But I want it all. I want the regular season MVP. I would love Offensive Player of the Year too, but that one you can get to somebody else. That's cool. But give Lamar regular season MVP. I can't even say give Lamar regular season MVP because he has done enough to earn regular season MVP. This man is having a historic year, like crazy historic year. And that wouldn't be your MVP. But yeah, so he ain't no give it to Lamar, but he has already earned it. Next question came from my guy Justin. He said, what's going on, Ingraven? Justin from Jersey. Hope this email finds you well. Oh, from Jersey. JJ in the house. What's up? He said, I'm reaching out with a question about the MVP race and the apparent discrepancy in how Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are being evaluated this season. It seems that Lamar Jackson has made significant strides as a quarterback, particularly in response to the prior criticism. The NFL challenged Lamar to improve his passing game, and he's done exactly that. Yet, despite his improvements, it feels like he's still being overlooked in favor of Josh Allen, even though Lamar's overall performance is comparable, if not superior, in many areas. As it stands, the only stat where Josh Allen outperforms Lamar is rushing touchdowns and team record. Given Lamar's transformation into a more complete passer, it seems unjust that his efforts are being undervalued in comparison. It's as though the narrative is shifting to exclude him from the MVP conversation, especially with a potential three-peat in the balance. Can you help me understand how the NFL has changed its perspective on Lamar in comparison to Josh Allen? It feels like Lamar's achievements are being overshadowed despite the fact that he's proven himself as both a dynamic rusher and an effective passer. You know what? I gotta give you some pushback on that. I would change that to, it feels like Lamar's achievements are being overshadowed despite the fact that he's proven himself as both a dynamic passer and a dynamic rusher. So I fixed it for you. But anyway, he said, looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this. Best regards, and let's go Ravens. I think something that's been said a lot, voters fatigue. I think the nationally televised games too have helped. The games that the world has been able to watch have helped. Because it's the big stage. And I saw somebody mention, I don't know if it was Emmanuel Acho or somebody, they were like, usually let a lot of the guys who are voting for the MVP, they sit in the press box and they don't get to watch all the games. They watch whatever team they focusing on, whatnot. But then for those nationally televised games, everybody's at the crib, they all watch and they're like, oh, that's Lamar right there. Oh, okay, he's doing that. Oh, okay. Okay, that's pretty good right there. So that gives them a nice little reminder like, hey, this is who Lamar Jackson is. But even with that voters fatigue, that is a real thing because some people are like, oh, he just won it last year. Did he really need to win it again? Come on now. And with Josh Allen, like the record is big. Record plays a huge part when it comes to the MVP voting. Record can help wipe out a lot of other stuff. If your record is like that. But it's all about impact in games too. It's all about your impact, what you do in the bigger games, what you do in the nationally televised games, what you do against some of the best opponents that you go up against. Head to head, that should have something to do with it. It seems like this year that they trying to like erase head to head because we remember Josh Allen actually got benched. He didn't even finish the game in that game against the Baltimore Ravens in week 3 where Ravens won 35-10. It's like a lot of that gets forgotten about. But I think with Josh Allen, the game against the Chiefs, that really pushed him up big time. Like, because that was a huge game. And that's the Chiefs' only loss of this season right now. Lamar's, all his numbers across the board, except, like you mentioned, the rushing touchdowns are better than Josh Allen. But it's just the record. The record that's where things get tricky. And that's what the NFL voters, they take that into account. They take the record into account. They take the numbers into account too, but it starts with record. And it starts with the quarterback as well. But it's just crazy, man. This has been, in my opinion, one of the craziest MVP, I guess, competitions or whatnot. Because obviously right now, like everybody focused on Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and it's just been the craziest back and forth. It's just been wild, man. Before there was some people saying, okay, it's Josh Allen's to lose it. He got it. It's over with. MVP. That's it. It's done. But then they saw Lamar Jackson against the Steelers. Then they seen him against the Texans, and they're like, oh, hold up, wait a minute, it ain't over yet, my friends. And it really shouldn't have been over yet. And I've also seen a lot of people, especially a lot of Bills fans, say, oh, Josh Allen, he got robbed of the MVP last year. And Josh Allen, I think, was like 5th in voting. He had 1 vote. Lamar had 49, right? Yeah. He had 49 out of 50 votes. But Josh Allen, like, he was like in 5th place of voters, something crazy like that. So he wasn't even close to Lamar last year. This year, we'll see how it goes down. We'll see what happens. But it's just been the craziest, like, back and forth for MVP that I remember in recent years.